We'll pour one of these and we'll just kind of get recorded.
That sounds good. Yeah, absolutely.
Damn.
Here, pass it over to you, man. Let me show you how to do that.
Let the liquor guy.
Yeah, that one got in there. There you go. It's got it.
And we primed it for you.
I've had a lot of experience doing this. You know what I'm
We
saying?
primed it for you. I'll do the honors.
Please search your bottle. I'll never open another man's bottle.
Hey everyone, it's Kenny here. We really hope you enjoy these podcasts. I'm sure you know that this is a labor of love for us, so we're launching a Patreon sponsorship. Patreon is like crowdfunding, but for supporting your favorite grassroots entertainment. We want to show our love for you as well. We have different donation levels set up, so $1 a month gets you Patreon-only content, such as outtakes and additional audio that take place before and after recording. For $3 a month, we're going to send you a Bourbon Pursuit branded koozie with an awesome tagline that was chosen by our very own followers on Twitter and Facebook. We're also going to send you some Bourbon Pursuit stickers that you can slap on your laptop, guitar case, car window, wherever. For $5 a month, you get a limited edition Bourbon Pursuit t-shirt, as well as get into a monthly drawing for a free bottle of booze or maybe some swag from one of our guests. There's even more awesome stuff. So please, if you like the show, support us, and we're going to send you some cool stuff in return. Visit patreon.com, that's patreon.com/Bourbon Pursuit. Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. My name is Kenny, and we got Ryan here today as well, and we've also got a great guest today. But before we get to this, we want to talk about a bottle we just opened, because we're actually doing this in my house today.
Live on site.
Yeah, live on site, and it's one of those rare occasions where we get to do it here, and we get to open up a new bottle that I've had sitting in the basement that's been, I don't know, I guess burning a hole in my pocket. So today we are opening up a Van Winkle Rye 13 year, and this is the 2015 release from it.
And thank you for opening that. And I think you've shown everyone on the social media world your bar. So I got to see it in person finally. And that's the more impressive thing, is your bar.
Well, it was... It didn't come cheap. But
I can imagine.
It was one of those things that I was definitely very, very happy to have. You know, once you start looking at other people's collections and you start looking at all the ways that they have bourbon stored or they're showcasing or anything like that, you kind of get all these ideas. So it was about a year and a half of just collecting ideas to try to figure out how this is going to work. And then I finally got to actually commissioned an artist to build everything down there for me. So it's all.
Who was the artist?
So there's actually a great place here on Market Street downtown called Revelry Gallery. It's on Market Street, and they go and they have all kinds of like uniquely Kentucky gifts, uniquely Louisville stuff. And in the very back left corner, there's a lot of bourbon barrel art. And my mother-in-law made the drastic decision to buy me something from my basement, even when we hadn't started remodeling the basement yet, and it was this kind of like sphere, this globe that was made out of bourbon barrel rings. And she gave it to me for Christmas, and I was like, oh, that's great, but this thing's like 4 feet tall. This isn't going to fit in my basement. So we ended up taking it back and talking to them and saying, you know, can we talk to the artist, because we think we need to get a billiards lamp made, and I think this would be really cool. And then we started talking to him, and he's like, oh, I can make you everything. So we got the bar, we had the
Open
shelves.
up your checkbook, and I can make you anything.
Yeah, exactly. So asking you shall receive. So
well, it looks great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
It is most impressive.
There we go. So we got a little chime in from Ray. So I guess it's a good time to introduce our guest. So today on the show, we have Ray Perryman. Ray is the spirits manager at the Liquor Barn at the Springhurst location here in Louisville. So Ray, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So I guess first, let's kind of talk about you for a second, right? Mm-hmm. So I've talked to you before. I know you're a pretty big beer guy, and kind of talk about. Do you like the brown water as well?
I do. I'm actually a big bourbon geek as well, and I share all of us Bourbon Hounds' passion for chasing those rare bottles. And so, thank you very much again for opening the Pappy Rye. That was delicious. That's probably one of my favorite ones out of that whole lineup. So, thanks a million for opening that, because it's I know how it is to camp out in front of the stores and everything. I've been there. I've done that.
You set that shit up for us.
That's right. So now it's really neat, kind of seeing it from the other side of things. So
you have all the leverage.
That's right, all the leverage and all the power. So, but with that comes a great deal of responsibility, and I take that very seriously to take care of my customers and our guests and the fellow bourbon enthusiasts coming out to see us, because without them, then there's no need for me. So believe me, I'm very thankful for all the bourbon enthusiasts as well for the passion and the energy. And I'm very proud of my state. You know, I'm homegrown. I'm from Louisville, and I'm very, very proud of my state and my city. And I love the bourbon boom right now. I love the attention it brings to our state and our culture and our heritage. And it's a wonderful thing. So I just look for that to keep going. And I'm anxious to see how the next couple of years unfold as far as this whole entire bourbon boom and the way it's going to affect our local industry as well as our state industry in general.
It's definitely going to continue to grow. But before we get to there and start talking about it, kind of tell us, how did you get into bourbon to begin with? Is it just because you grew up around Louisville and Kentucky and you were just, basically around it and surrounded by it like a lot of us? Or did you, maybe, at least for me, we're in a fraternity and you got forced to drink it, right? And you kind of just started liking it from there.
No, that's funny. I didn't know you were Greek. I'm Greek as well. So I was a Lambda Chi in college, and my roommate, who was also my big brother in the fraternity, thank you, John, was also Lambda Chi as well. And we were both really into kind of bourbon. It was something, our early years in college, we kind of started delving into the bourbon world and discovering new bourbons and new whiskeys. And it was something that just kind of intrigued me as a young man, and I found a way to get into the industry, as far as this side of the retail industry of the bourbon world. And I'm not new to retail. I had many years experience as far as working in retail and retail management, and so it just kind of seemed like a natural fit for me to get into this industry. So the opportunity presented itself, and the rest is history.
So what were you doing in retail before you came over to Liquor Barn?
So before Liquor Barn, I was an assistant store manager for Walmart. And I'm very grateful for the years of service I put in there. I learned a lot from Walmart as far as that retailer in general. And so I've applied a lot of the same things I learned there to what I do now in the liquor world, as far as a passion for customer service and driving in stock inside our stores so people can come in and get what they need. And on important major events, as far as like weekends, like this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so everyone's going to be stocking up for their big barbecue in their backyard or what have you. It's very important for us to be able to deliver on a store level.
Make sure the party's ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can come in and get what you need. And so, I'm lucky that I'm very blessed to have such a wonderful team of people that I work with at a store level. Eric, Craig, Nick, Thomas, just to name a few, Imani. I couldn't do what I do without the amazing team of people that I have surrounding me at our store level and our corporate level. We have a marketing team and a merchant team that is absolutely dedicated to striving to get the best prices out there, and that our customers know about it, and that we're in stock, and that we have what people want so they can come in, get what they need, get out in a timely fashion, and go back home and get to what's really important, and that's grilling out and having a barbecue and having a couple of drinks this weekend, right?
So is Liquor Barn the biggest buyer of alcohol in the state, or
if they're not, I would say they're probably one of them.
Yeah,
I would venture to say we're definitely one of the largest accounts in the state, and I'm proud to say that.
I guess we didn't really talk about that, so I guess give a small history or snafu, because a lot of our listeners, not everybody's in Kentucky, right? So kind of talk about, what is Liquor Barn?
Okay, so Liquor Barn, we're actually based out of our parent company is Liquor Stores North America, and we're actually based out of Canada. So the barns, we have 15 barns in the state of Kentucky. And so in Canada, we're known as Liquor Depot. That's our name up there. And then we actually have stores in Alaska, and we're known as Brown Jug up there. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, how's that for a spread? Kentucky, Canada, Alaska, and we just got a couple new stores in New Jersey as well. We're also Liquor Depot, or Wine and Beyond up there. And so it's got a neat, interesting spread out there as far as the whole distance between the stores. But yeah, we have 15 barns down here in Kentucky. We're in the South. We have barns down here. Liquor and barns,
it kind of goes together.
That's right. So hence Liquor Barn. So that's kind of the spread we have going on out here, and it's really, really neat because in my particular store, I have a really, really large store. We're 2 stories, and so we get a lot of people who come in from out of town and just say, hey, I'd like to get something that I can't get back home. And I love when people ask me that kind of stuff, because we have such a huge selection. It's really, really easy to be able to show people different items.
Yeah, you have a lot of private barrel picks too.
Oh yeah, a lot of private barrel picks. Even our own private brand. We have our Flat Boat Bourbon, which you guys got the sample before we poured the pappy.
We sure did. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute.
Oh yeah, but it's a good one. So
It was smart to put it before the pappy.
it's no. To be fair, it's hard to compare a rye whiskey with a bourbon.
Right, no,
it's
I-
hard to say, but I see what you mean.
So, I mean, is it a pretty good comparison to say like Liquor Barn in Louisville is like it's like the Walmart of liquor stores, right? Because it's just huge, right? And that's
Well, we're big. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We're big, but
The quality's better.
I don't. I was gonna say I'm not sure I would
You're
use
the
that.
target.
I'm not sure I would use that.
the target.
That in time because I'd like to think that we're good neighbors in the respect of I like partnering with local businesses and I enjoy working with different folks. So we'll use that. I'm not so and making money is important, but it's also good to have great relationships with your vendors, with your reps, and be able to that we can all be successful together.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Not be so obsessed with chiseling something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of looked at it as more or less the just the sheer size of it.
Yeah,
right?
size
oh,
and
yeah.
The sheer size of it
I
because
mean, you have everything too. Like everything's available there.
Oh yeah. We're very proud of the selection.
Well,
we have,
mostly.
we have absolutely the largest bourbon selection in the state. There's no question about that. We have over 400 different bourbons, different whiskeys in general. I'm very proud to say that too. We have a huge selection, and what most stores, if you come into my store, most stores have just a little snippet of what we would have in our store. You know, we have multiple aisles of bourbon in our store, and most stores have like 8 feet. So
Right.
it's really neat just to be able to come in and just be like, oh my gosh, it's like an adult candy store.
it really is.
It
I
really,
think for a
really
lot
is.
of people, right? So I guess that's kind of a good segue to kind of talk about your job in general. So like, what's the day in the life of a spirits manager?
Sure.
At one of the you should say the largest retailer of bourbon in the state of Kentucky.
Sure. What you're going to do is, for me, what's really important is driving in stock. What I mean by that is that we have what you want, so that you can come in at any given time, and I've got products in stock, so long as I can control it. There's always going to be items like our pappies that are strictly on allotment that you can only get once a year, and I can't control that. But what I can control is stuff that is going to be available year round. It's important to be able to have enough of that on hand that we keep our shelves full for our customers. So a day in the life of me is I'm going to come into my store and I'm going to walk my store and make sure that we're all set up and ready for business, and that our store's looking crisp, clean, full, organized, and that we're ready to go. I'll have some of my reps come in. We'll make purchase orders together and just plan for the rest of the week so that when the weekend comes, we're ready for business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I guess that's another good question when we start thinking about that is how do you start planning for what you need in the upcoming weeks, months, whatever it is? Because, I mean, bourbon takes time to age. It takes time to bottle, time to all that sort of stuff, right?
So you're going to look at your past business history. What's my sales record for this particular item? How much do I think I'll need going forward? If this particular weekend's Memorial Day weekend, and that kind of stuff. So you're just going to look at your past business trends and see, based on what I did last year, Memorial Day weekend, how much do I think I'm going to need this year? And then you make those kind of business calls. You're always going to use the raw data to be able to determine what you're going to want to do. I mean, you're going to use gut instincts every now and then, but you can't, as far as, always emphasize the raw data when you can.
So you do something that's also pretty unique, right? Because you told us before that when you came into, by the way, for people that don't know, so you work at the Springhurst location, which is
That's correct.
Out of the 15 locations, it's probably the largest, if not the largest location, right?
I would say, our Hamburg location might edge us out, but if they don't, then we would absolutely be the largest location.
Okay, great. So it's you do a lot of business through there, and when you came in, you said you needed to shake things up a little bit, right? You had to do something a little bit different. Kind of give the listeners, and maybe even some people that are that talk to, because I know because you are the person that everybody wants to be best friends with now, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
And I know everybody out there, they are talking to liquor store owners every single day. They're trying to get their ins and all that sort of stuff. So what did you do that's so unique that you kind of like trying to shake it up or try to gain more interest into your store?
So one of the things as a customer that frustrated me in general with the liquor industry was a lack of transparency. When I would go to different releases or what have you, I knew that there was always going to be someone who had an in at a store, or that their buddy was going to be hooking them up, or that we're only going to pass out as many tickets as we have bottles. So we have 30 bottles, we pass out 30 tickets, and then 200 people show up. So 170 people are just out of luck. So
And the idiots like Kenny that get there 24 hours before they get a bottle, but not
that's
just
right.
the general
That's-
fan.
That's right.
I don't see the problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So one of the things that I wanted to do, and I was one of those people at a release, back in January, I was at a release with my current store, and it went less than great. And I called to complain as a customer, and thank you, Brian, for taking my complaint, my manager. And we spoke on the phone for about 15 or 20 minutes, and really great guy. And I thought about it all day long. I thought, I would love to be able to be a part of that team and be able to find a way to help them make these releases smoother. And so I called him back that afternoon and told him, I think I can help you, and I'd love to be a part of this team. And he invited me to come in and sit down and talk, and the rest is history. And it's really been a dream come true for me. I love working in this industry. I love my employer. They're wonderful people to work for. One of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to provide a little bit more culture of not only transparency, but also equal opportunity for everybody. So
yeah, what was about the event that pissed you off or made you want to make it? And what changes did you make?
So in that particular event, there was just a little bit of communication breakdown between what our email said was going to happen and then what actually transpired at the store. And
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember vividly. So
Kenny will always have that date written down.
I've got it tattooed on my lower back.
No. But there was a ticket limit on the amount of tickets that got handed out, and so one of the things that I do anytime we've done a raffle is there's no ticket limit as far as if you show up between, most of the time our raffles start at like 10:15 a.m. So if you came in between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., you got a ticket. So it didn't matter how many people showed up between 9 and 10 a.m., you were getting a ticket. And then at 10:15 a.m., we'd gather everybody around, and I'll pull tickets until the bottles are gone. But that way, everyone who gets to show up at the allotted time will get a ticket, and then everyone has an equal opportunity to win a bottle. And for me...
Kenny's fuming right now.
I know. And I know there's going to be some of those OG
He's
campers.
like, that's socialist.
That's right. There's going to be some of those OG campers like Kenny who camp out for 2 and 3 weeks at a time when it comes to happy season. But for me as a consumer, back when I was back when I was a customer, that really annoyed me. I did camp out, but I hated it. I didn't enjoy it. I like the raffle system as far as, hey, it's only going to take up maybe 30 minutes of your day. Come out, we'll do the raffle. You win, yay. You don't, maybe next time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that way it's transparent and everybody has an equal opportunity. So folks who have kids or what have you who can't afford to camp out for 24 hours because they can't just leave their children at home. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so they can come out and participate in that. And it's fair. And so that's what I liked about it. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that we were very clear in our communication with our customers with those releases, and it was very, very fair and inclusive. And I think we've done a good job of executing that. And it's not just me. Like I said earlier, I'm very, very blessed to have such a wonderful team of people that I work with that there's no way it's never just one person. It's an honor to be here, and I love being interviewed, but don't believe for a second that it's just me. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Like it's a wonderful team that I'm a part of.
So when you were going through this, I mean, I guess was it you that kind of like said like, okay, we need to move to a raffle system for everybody, or did Liquor Barn and corporate kind of feel like that's the most fair way to do it, right? Because we've discussed this at length before on the show, because it's very hard to say, is it fair? Like, do you give it to your best customers? Do you start a card that accrues points, and you got to be like the people that are at Specs down in Dallas, and you have to have the amount of points to be able to get something, and even that system's flawed, and then you have the people that hook you up, then you've got the raffle system, right? So it's hard to say, is there
what
a
is
system?
The best way?
I mean,
so there's a couple things that go into determining, are we going to do a raffle for this item? All right. And we've tried a couple different release methods since I've come on board. We've done raffle. Most recently, we just did a raffle last weekend. So raffles are good in the respect that it gives everybody an opportunity, because there's about 3 different types of people who show up for a release. You've got your bourbon enthusiasts, such as the people who are sitting at the table who like to get rare bottles like that Pappy Rye, and then they take them home and they open them, which is, I love hearing, because that's what I do. I like to drink my bourbon. Then you've got flippers, which I'm not interested in them in whatsoever, because I don't flip my bourbon, and I frown very heavily on flipping bourbon in general. It ruins it for everybody else. That's pretty much all I can say about flipping. Mm-hmm. And then you've got people who are new to the game. So, I don't know much about this product, but I've heard that Pappy's, I've heard that Pappy's really good. I've never had it. I don't know much about it, but I would love to try some of it. And so raffles are great ways to let your OGs, people like Kenny, can't be able to still have a shot at getting their bourbon, but still including maybe people who are new to this whole movement, and be able to include them in at least having a shot at being able to get a bottle. So some bourbons, like a Pappy, obviously I anticipate that will probably be a raffle item this fall. That's the only kind of bourbon that we'll do a raffle on. Something, we'll get other bourbons in, like we had Rock Hill Farms in last week or the week before. I just sat that out on the counter. We sent an email blast out to our customers. We had a 1 bottle limit. Boom. You know what I'm saying? And that worked perfectly for us. Mm-hmm. So just you don't have to do a raffle every single time, but it's good to be transparent with your customers. So, at least we got our product in. We sent the email blast out. Let people know, hey, we've got it. There's a 1 bottle limit, so you don't have to worry about 1 or 2 people coming in and buying 7, 8 bottles a piece and just blowing it out for everybody, because that was one of the other things I wanted to do, was ensure that we took care of as many people as we possibly could. I wish I could just contact Sazerac and say, hey, I want 1,000 bottles of Pappy this fall. You know what I'm saying? But it just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah, you're right. I'm saying so. It just doesn't work that way. So you have to make the most of what you're allotted, and so I feel like that's the fairest way to do it, which is really important to me.
It might be the fairest, but also it used to be a game for us,
Oh, yeah.
We'd watch the calendar. We'd be like, all right, let's drive to the store, see if they got it. Tuesday, the Southern Wine Spirits truck's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays and Fridays,
hard,
9 a.m.
For people like us that are used to, doing that and being fun, now it's kind of taken that completely away from us. But I understand why they do it.
And I will neither confirm nor deny the Tuesdays and Fridays.
That's
I
OG coming out right there.
That's the OG coming out in us.
Right. No, I understand that. And I understand that. And then the interesting thing about this is, no matter what you do in this particular instance, because bourbon's gotten so big, you're going to step on someone's toes.
Nobody's going to have it.
Yeah, exactly. So, people are really excited they can come out now, and everybody can come out for the raffles, but then you've got people who are like, I remember back in my day, I could just walk in the store, and there'd be 10 bottles of Pappy 15 sitting on the counter, and I could just buy as many as I wanted. Those days are gone.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
for sure.
I think we understand that. Those kind of days are gone. So you've got to be able to make the most of what you got. And so I feel like, as long as we have great pricing on our products and we're releasing them in a very transparent way that's fair and inclusive, then you're making the most of what you can do.
Yeah, and I think the raffle does that for everyone.
Oh,
the thing that most people don't like is like your friend works there and he hides you one, or so. The transparency, I think, is what everyone wants.
Absolutely. No, I think, and I would agree with that, because that's what I wanted when I was outside the industry. Is I wanted more of that transparency, and it was really frustrating for me. And because I'll never forget last fall, before I was in this industry, I was going through looking for Kentucky Owl when it came out last fall, and I walked into a liquor store and was like, "Hey, do you guys?" It was like my 5th or 6th store that day. "Hey, do you guys have any Kentucky Owl?" And this lady was helping me, and she looked over and she asked the guy behind the counter, and he was like, "Hang on." And he looked over behind the counter and he had to look at me, and he goes, "No." I was like,
has he bought here lately?
Yeah. So I was like, this guy doesn't know me, so I'm not his buddy, so he's not going to hook me up. So I like I said, I don't mean to sound like a broken record. I like the transparency aspect of it. So that way everybody has a shot. And I just think that's, the fairest way to do it.
But you also do something pretty interesting yourself, right? And we know that we're not going to go and break the first rule of Fight Club, but there's also another Facebook group called Louisville Bourbon Hounds. And there's a lot of people that are on there. And you do something that's pretty unique in regards to there by being even more transparent, right? Mm-hmm. By being able to get people to come to the store and help drive up interest. Kind of talk about that, and if you think that's A, been a good method so far, and B, if there's other people that could kind of copy your method in their own local groups.
So, I was a member of Louisville Bourbon Hounds while I was a consumer before I got into the industry, and they're a really great group of folks. There's a lot of people who are really, really passionate about the industry and love trading and sharing and everything, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, because I think you'll agree, when you get a really, really great product, one of the things that you want to do is share it with your friends. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, just like this Pappy Rye, I love sharing with folks. I'm the same way, and there's a lot of really people like that on Hounds. And so, no, it's been a great group. I update them every time we send updates out to the general public, and it's been great. It's driven a lot of interest in the store, and that's been wonderful. I've met hundreds of the guys on there, and they're really, really great folks. It's an evolving thing. We're just now really kind of tapping in as a company into the social media aspect of networking in the industry. They just put me in charge of our Twitter page.
Oh man, there you go. One more thing to take care of, right?
At LB Springhurst. So, but yeah, that's just one more thing. We're just kind of delving into the social media aspect of it. That's been fun. It's been a great thing. Could other folks do it? Sure. I know Owen put stuff up on there too in his store. It's a community board, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's been great. It's been a great way to drive interest as well as communicate and drive that transparency online with fellow enthusiasts.
Right. So you think that's really helped drive more interest to the store? Because I think your goal at the end of the day is to help increase the sales of your store. Maybe even versus not trying to say take down the other stores, right? But it's also, you have to drive awareness to your store. And do you think you're doing something that the other stores around the city could take candor off of and say, like, we should be doing that same exact thing?
I think it's been.
He hopes not.
Well, I think it's been great to drive business to the store. I do think that's helped drive business to the store. The number one reason I did it in the first place, though, was I knew that the store when I got there had a lot of opportunity, and I knew that a lot of customers had maybe lost faith in our store, and so the real reason I did it in the first place was to get people to please come back in, meet me. Let me show you the store. Let me show you how we're making improvements. And in that respect, it's been great. It's been really, really great as far as driving people to come back to our store and just walk through the door. And that's been great. And so, yes, it has helped drive business, but it's also helped, I'm not just somebody at your liquor store. Now I'm going to see Ray. And so that's been really, really great. And so, sure, other businesses could, if they wanted to, they could try something like that. As far as tapping into social media, I don't think tapping into social media is ever a bad idea. You know what I mean? So, I think it's just been a great thing. But my original intent on it was just trying to, hey, I've been on Hounds for a while. I'll make the Hounds part of my expansion into the industry. So it was really cool. And I'm glad that corporate has allowed me to do that. It's been really, really awesome. They're really open-minded as far as trying new things, and that's been great. So I've really, really enjoyed that aspect of it.
So another cool thing about your store, and for anybody that's actually traveling to Kentucky for do the Bourbon Trail, you also have one of the cheapest tasting bars in the city, right? So kind of talk about that a little bit too, because that's what a lot of people come here and they're like, oh, I'm going to go to restaurants, I'm going to go to Silver Dollar, and they've got a huge bourbon menu. But then you look at the menu prices and you're like, oh shit, right? I don't want to pay for this.
Yeah. Or you just pay $50 on our Patreon page.
Or do that. But go ahead and kind of talk about like what your store does in regards to like their tasting bar.
So the tasting bar is something that is very near and dear to me. One of the things that I love about it and the whole entire philosophy I have around the tasting bar is I hate when you go and you buy a bottle of bourbon. Let's say you spend $100+ on it and you take it home and then you pop it and you're heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that has happened to me. Yeah, I'm saying that has happened to me before. And so it's really, really nice to be able to go over to our tasting cabinet and try a bourbon for $3, $4 and be like, wow, this is great. I love it. And I definitely feel great about buying this bottle now, or man, this wasn't for me. And so thank goodness I didn't buy that bottle. I just saved $97. You know what I'm saying? So that's been really great. Another reason I love the tasting bar is I always save those big whales from every release. And, like we just recently released E.H. Taylor Seasoned Wood, and there wasn't a lot of that to go around. I saved one for the tasting cabinet. And and I think we had it for $4.99 a pour. So, and I'm very proud to offer it at that price. I know a lot of people around town are paying $30, $40, $50 a pour for that, which I think is ridiculous. I mean, I'm not in this business to price gouge. I'm proud to say that. I never will. That's just the way I do business. I'll never price gouge my customers. We don't do that. And like I said, I'm very, very proud to say that. And so that tasting bar will always be that way. So long as I have the ability to control that, we will always have very, very low, very, very reasonable prices at that tasting bar, because that's the whole entire point. Is so that people can come in, try new products. Hey, I love it. I'd love to buy that bottle. Or, hey, man, I missed that bottle at that release and I didn't even get to taste it. At least you can come over and taste it and you don't have to worry about me chewing a hole through your pocket in order to do that. You know what I mean?
Is there any seasoned wood left?
They killed that in less than 24 hours.
Sure.
Yeah. So for $5 an ounce, I'm pretty sure it would go pretty quickly.
It's probably gone in a few hours.
Yeah. That's what all I need you to do is you got to start serving some like restaurant food there, and then I can start expensing it, right?
Right. That's right. There you go.
Be like, yeah, I got a client here with me today. We're going to liquor barn.
I've got a basket of bourbon seasoned salted chocolate Twinkies right there up at the tasting cabinet. That's almost like restaurant quality food there. So there you go.
Good. So we're reaching towards the end of the 30-minute mark. You know, this has been a pleasure to kind of get an insight not only into you, but as your store and learning more about it. But before we kind of sign off, let's talk about Liquor Barn's signature bourbon called Flat Boat. So kind of talk about that, because I've walked in all the liquor barns here and I've always seen it, but I've actually never picked it up before. Kind of give us the backstory behind it.
Sure. We partnered with 1792. And we designed that bourbon from the ground up. I hope you guys enjoyed your pour of it. So we got to taste it.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a solid bourbon. It's usually it's over 8. Usually averages around 8.5 years old. And it's got a great price point on it. It's a great daily drinker. It's real smooth, real sweet, very easy to drink. But it's exclusively sold through our stores, so it's our baby. And we just recently released the Flat Boat Bourbon Cream as well, and it's also really tasty.
Yeah, that was like a milkshake. It was awesome.
It's really good. I think it kind of reminds me of like a turtle sundae. It just came out last week, and it's been very popular. They're two great items. I'm proud of the brands that we carry in our store that are our store brands. That's just one I just wanted to bring so you guys could enjoy it. But
so what's the story behind the name Flatboat? Do you know that? Or
as far as the actual name Flatboat, I'm not sure. As far as that story goes,
it's like a Huck
probably
Finn.
Lewis and Clark and them type of deal. Going down
like
there.
that.
Oh,
That makes
absolutely.
sense now. I was like probably not like Huck Finn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. But no, it's a great product. I enjoyed it. I was actually surprised when I tried it the first time. It averages around $25 a bottle, and 8.5-year-old bourbon. That's a great price point on it. And so the first time I tried it, I was actually really impressed at how good it was. Every now and then, when you're going out to join some friends on the weekend or what have you, it's nice to be able to bring a bottle along, but you can't always bring the Pappy Van Winkle 13-year-old rye with you,
Right.
Or else that would get
Nobody
really
has
expensive
Kenny's
real quick. That's right.
And I don't have that many friends I like to share it with.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's right. So if you can buy a bourbon that's still great and won't break the bank, that's a really great candidate for that.
Yeah, and I also like the bourbon cream too, because I just remember reading on all kinds of forums that people had a really hard time even finding the Buffalo Trace bourbon cream. So is that? I mean, I guess so. If this is from 1792, which is also owned by Sazerac, Sazerac also owns bourbon, also has Buffalo Trace. So there's got to be
tying
some
the pieces.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The dots are starting to connect for me right
I'm
now.
saying, and it would be fun to side by side that with the Buffalo Trace cream. I haven't done that yet, but this one's got some chocolate infusion to it, whereas the Buffalo Trace cream to me has more of like a vanilla hint to
right.
it. So it's you could side by side them. That'd be fun to do. They're both tasty. They're both great products.
And buy both bottles at Liquor Barn.
You can, and you can buy both bottles at Liquor
There
Barn,
you go.
specifically my store.
There you go. If you're gonna do it, make sure you do it at the Springhurst location. That is at.
That's our town center location, right over there by Tinseltown Movie Theater.
There you go. What's the address for anybody that's coming from out of town wanting to look at the?
Our location's at 4301 Town Center Drive, Louisville, Kentucky 40241.
There you go. So now anybody that's coming here, make sure you add that into your Google Maps as just a place to
And-
stop.
Put it on your bourbon trail map.
That's right. And if you're on your way into town, make sure you ask for me. My name's Ray. And if you'd like to get updates for what we have in our store before you head our way, that's LB Springhurst on Twitter. That's at LB Springhurst. So I'll always update us anytime we get any good picks in the store. That's something I love doing. You can ask the Hounds about it. They'll tell you. So there you go. So thank you guys so much for having me today. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
No, this was great. Like I said, great insight into you, great insight in the store, understanding, why I can't camp out anymore. But it's
Yeah.
okay. I understand the times are changing.
Yep.
As long as I can get 1 or 2 bottles a year, then I guess I'll be okay. I'll survive.
Like I said, we haven't gone exclusively to raffles. There'll still be a few first come first serve. So don't throw your 10 out yet. You know what I'm saying?
Good. Because
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I always thought I need to invest in a camper or like an RV or something like that.
You're almost to that point. I feel like.
Because one of the other things I like doing is I just like keeping everything fresh. So we may throw in a couple first come first serve releases mixed in with the raffles. Just it keeps things interesting. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I gotta keep you on your toes, man.
I'm fine with that as long as I get the first
Need
heads
some
up.
action.
That's right.
So if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bourbon Pursuit. Also, if you like the show, please support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Bourbon Pursuit. Because if you support us, we're also going to send you some cool stuff in return.
Yeah, and thanks again for coming on. I mean, liquor stores have been a frustration of everyone, I think, with the demand of bourbon. And I think it's good to give people an idea of what really is going on and how it's, it's a stress on you all too. So,
Absolutely.
You're trying to do what's best for the consumer, and I appreciate that you're all doing that.
And thank you so much. I appreciate your all support. I really do.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you have any show suggestions or feedback, comments for the show, please let us know, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast of Bourbon Pursuit is in partnership with thewhiskeywash.com, a lifestyle website for news and reviews for people who like whiskey, and for those who think a life without whiskey has no style, thewhiskeywash.com.